Well, hi everyone. I'm John Retlin with a retro review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dontaku 2013 event. 7 years ago today, the Bullet Club formed, and I've missed reviewing New Japan, so I decided to dive into the archives. And I figured, this event was as good as any that I could pick. I may eventually retro review some of the Wrestle Kingdom, the past Wrestle Kingdom events, and even before it was called Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not going to be doing every single New Japan event, but you know what? Again, I miss New Japan, and I wanted to see what it was like 7-some-odd years ago. And it's weird to see some wrestlers that are so broken down now, how they were even a few years ago, like Hanma. Hanma was in this and actually pretty goddamn agile. But this featured a pretty goddamn packed card. 9 matches, Suzuki versus Okada in the main event. A pretty damn good main event, as you would expect. But it starts off with Kushida and Alex Shelley, the Time Splitters, versus Rocky Romero and Alex Kozlov, the Forever Hooligans. Weird to see Rocky Romero's a heel, even though he's a very good heel. Alex Kozlov, very good as well. And Kushida and Alex Shelley were quite good. And then the only issue I have with some of these events is the way they're set up on New Japan World. They're all separate matches, and they're kind of clipped, like some of the entrances are clipped out. But that being said, it's still really nice for a low price. They're offering all these archived events. And just enjoy the very enthusiastic Japanese commentary. I love the fact that Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, and the English commentary team are going back and dubbing over, or doing English commentary for some of the past events. But you know what? Very little can beat the Japanese enthusiasm. Just, they are so freaking energetic. I don't understand a fucking word they're saying, but they are goddamn awesome. So Kozlov leads leads the crowd in the anthem, and does it because he's Russian. Because he's Russian, he even puts on the hat and does a little dance thing at some point, doing some kicks. But this was fun. The Hooligans try to jump the bell, and we get a quick dive of Kushida. We get some really good heel work from the Forever Hooligans. But eventually, we get after it looked like Kushida and Alex Shelley would retain the Iwgp Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, since this was a match for the championships. Kozlov got one of them up in a rack, and then Rocky Romero hit a top rope maneuver. I would call it the hooligan rack, whatever it's actually called. 1, 2, 3. I say right now that as much as I love New Japan and followed what I could, when I got more active on Twitter, I wasn't watching New Japan outside of clips until Wrestle Kingdom 12. I have gone back and watched some events since, but if I get anything wrong on this, or if I interpret anything wrong, I do apologize in advance. However, not a bad match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And oh yeah, this is when Kushida was actually used pretty goddamn well, as opposed to now. So, we then get Taguchi and Captain New Japan, basically New Japan's Arachnaman. Remember Arachnaman? I'm sorry if you do. Versus Bad Luck Fale, and in shape Bad Luck Fale. I really wish he could, trim down a bit so he could take some pressure off his knees, because pretty talented big man, but it's really hard to see him now. His knees are shot, and it's really sad. But who's his partner? Who's now Finn Balor, but better known as Prince Devitt. And if you haven't seen any of Balor's work pre-WWE, pre-NXT, WWE, you're missing out. His Prince Devitt work was phenomenal. He has the perfect look to be a heel. He is absolutely fantastic, and it was funny, people not understanding when he turned heel in NXT, when he came back, saying, oh, well, he can't play a heel. Oh, you never saw his stuff in New Japan. He was fucking dynamite here. Now, there wasn't much to this match. Bell to bell, I think it was 6 minutes tops. Taguchi not necessarily being Uncle Creepy here, being, much more of a straight-laced, pretty talented wrestler, but I mean, he's a talented wrestler anyway, but eventually Captain New Japan gets beat by the grenade. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, so, I mean, of course he was going to take the pin, and the future Bullet Club members take the win. We get the IWGP Tag Team Championship match in a 4-way. It's Killer Elite Squad, which was Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr., Tenzan and Kojima, Tenkozy, Nakanishi and Strongman, John Anderson, and Yano and Iizuka. An evil Yano and an Iizuka that ran through the crowd, but actually had some pretty good focus, and his back wasn't totally shot at this point. 1, John Anderson. Read up a little bit about this guy. You can tell he was a strong man. You can also tell that he wasn't very fucking good in the ring. Sweet Christ. I mean, I'm all for body guys trying to get in the ring, and some people can actually be pretty good, but this guy could hit some clotheslines, this guy could pick people up, and that's about it. I mean, Nathan Jones looked like a world beater in the ring compared to this guy, and I'm sure he tried, but he was fucking gassed, literally and figuratively. I mean, take a look at the fact his stamina was gone, and he was also roided out of his goddamn mind. I mean, he couldn't even fucking move. And Nakanishi, was nice to see him a little bit earlier in his career. I mean, yes, maybe towards the tail end of his career, since he just retired a little bit earlier this year. God, I miss New Japan live shows. God, I miss him so much. This guy, and I'm sorry to dump on the guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but this just fucking hell. I mean, they would have taken anybody, I guess, at this point. And he worked in Mexico. I don't know, maybe they've, had the bar lowered for talent because he wasn't very good. Like, he looked totally lost when he was in there. And apparently he'd been wrestling since 2003 and retired later this year in 2013. I mean, so it's like, okay, maybe he retired right after this event. Oh, enough dumping on this guy that probably is a nice guy and just wasn't very good in the ring. So, of course, the brawl starts in the crowd. There's one announcer, this commentator is getting assaulted by Iizuka, and then Nakanishi attacks him. And the match was fun, except when Anderson tried to do things and he wasn't very good at it. Tenkozy eventually wins after Cozy Lariat on the Strongman, because he was called Strongman. Thank God the worst one out of the group took the pin. This guy has done nothing to me, but I just felt the need to dump on the fact that he was not very good. I mean, if he's good in matches, please link me some matches or tell me some matches in the comments where I can see if this guy was any goddamn good, because what I saw, I wasn't very impressed with. And I've liked some people that aren't all that good in the ring, but my God, this guy was just bad. So we get Masato Tanaka and Tomoaki Honma. Pretty certain I pronounced Honma's name wrong, but it was an Ever Openweight Championship. And my God, Honma, before those injuries, those unfortunate injuries, where now it's really hard to watch him in the ring, he was agile. He was able to move really well. He'd been doing a bunch of death matches, and thank God he recovered from those injuries, but you know the ones I'm talking about, the neck and spine stuff. There were a lot of chops. Dear God, a lot of chops. There was a table to the head, or a head to the table, and then a splash through the table. Cane to Honma's head, sweet Christ. Very good agility from Honma. He even hit a diving Kokeshi off the top. But eventually, Masato Tanaka, roaring elbow, variation of roaring elbow, sliding right into Honma's face, 1, 2, 3. He retains the Never Openweight Championship, which is probably smart. And then we get Makabe versus Yujiro in a pre-Tokyo Pimp gear, with a banana in his pocket, or are we just happy to see him? Or is he just happy to see us? Like, it was a banana in his tights and was a little uncomfortable. For everybody, including the person that maybe wanted to eat a banana and was like, well, there's only one banana here and I'm not eating that, I'll go hungry. Makabe dominates at first. Yujiro with a lot of biting, not of his banana. That'd be some flexibility. And he does get some nice, kicks and chops in. We do a ramp spot where Makabe hits a lariat and just, clubs him right down. And then a low blow, but only for 2. We get, chain usage, where Yujiro tries to use the chain after Makabe fakes him out and hits him with the clothesline that the chain isn't wrapped around. And then a DVD variation and King Kong knee drop, 1, 2, 3. Then we go Goto versus Shibata. I'm going to be very quick with this. This was hard-hitting, scary, especially when you know what happened to Shibata and why he had to retire. The headbutts, the strikes, the submissions. You can see in this 13-minute clip, 13-minute match. I mean, and if you take the entrance out, it was more like about a 10-minute match. If you just factor that, it was amazing watching what Shibata could do. And this wasn't even one of his best matches. It's just him and Goto beating the shit out of each other with submissions and strikes. And eventually, they do basically a double KO. They knock each other out, and they can't answer the 10 count, and it's a draw. So that's something. But it was good. It was good stuff. I mean, I normally don't like draws, but it worked here in this case. Tanahashi versus Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Baron Hot Carl Anderson. Don't Google that, kids. Don't. Tama Tonga at ringside with Carl Anderson. And Ishii in the, or actually Ishii would be in the corner or somebody else later. Tanahashi, the ace, with better knees at this point. It was nice to see Tanahashi with some good agility here before he totally shot his knees by just carrying everything on his back, even though Okada was there. Boy, it's amazing Tana can still walk by this point. There was, high fly flow outside. There was some really good work. A drop kick to Tanahashi, just flooring him on the apron. TKO off the top. We had some good near falls, gun stun counters. Eventually, high fly flow, 1, 2, 3. And then it looks like Tanahashi's offering a hand to Carl Henderson, if you will, and tries to shake his hand, and then debit and volley attack. And Anderson's looking like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then they're like, like this. They're doing the gun thing. And then Tama Tonga joins in. All 4 of them beat the shit out of him. And there we go. The Bullet Club being formed. And then more members would get added and everything. It wouldn't be like the NWO and later WCW where about 85 guys on the roster were members. But it was cool for historical purposes watching the Bullet Club form here. And then they would catch fire, and they would get titles and they would do some pretty good stuff. So, that was nice. It was a nice little piece of history. And then we get Nakamura versus Shelton X Benjamin. He's not X Benjamin. It's not like Ex Machina. But they put the X in there, I guess, for copyright or something like that. I'm not really sure. I think Shelton Benjamin was his actual name. And if it wasn't, maybe they just put the X there. I don't have a clue. Iwgp Intercontinental Championship match. Oh my God, it's good. They let Shelton be Shelton here. Amazing. Nakamura was motivated, which was nice to see. I do give him some shit for his stuff in WWE, but you know what? He earned it by beating the shit out of his body for years and years and years in Japan. So if he can earn that money for doing less work, good for him. This is hard hitting. Shelton working on the knee, working on the ankle with some nice ankle lock maneuvers, and some very good submissions. And then Nakamura would do some good strikes. He did slip off the ropes at one point. That was a little scary. We did have a nice blockbuster, though, for 2 before that. And the leap by Shelton Benjamin to the top, that was some good stuff. But eventually, Bomaye, now known as the Kinshasa, at 1, 2, 3, and Nakamura retains. We then go to Okada versus Minoru Suzuki, IWGP Heavyweight Championship, almost a Junior Heavyweight Championship. That would have been totally wrong. And this was 30 minutes, and it was good. It was really good. Don't be fooled by the 53-minute clip, the runtime of this clip, because by 37, 38 minutes, that's it. And then they do celebration stuff afterwards, and you get Makabe challenging Okada. But there was some really good stuff. A nice, a great series of submissions. At one point, Suzuki holding on a sleeper onto Okada for a while, but they kept changing it up to make it interesting, at least, where Okada was always in it, but looking like he was slowly going out. The ebbs and flows are great, as you would expect with an Okada match, and especially Suzuki. Even with that hair, and I'm not going to tell him the hair would look ridiculous, because you know what? I have ridiculous-looking hair with as short as it is, and Suzuki can rock anything he wants because I don't want him to murder me or anyone else, and he would be capable of doing it. Apparently one of the nicest guys you'll meet. I mean, I've never met the guy, but apparently he's super nice. But it was a great match. To me, it was a lot like the match that they had at Royal Quest last year, in the UK. That was quite good. And eventually Okada would hit a sit-out tombstone variation. Ouch. And then would hit the Rainmaker 1, 2, 3. So it was a very good match, and it was a very good event, actually, very historic. Some really, the Bullet Club forming, some great championship matches. Once it got to the Never Openweight match, it got better. Honestly, the first 3 matches were kind of hit and miss to me, but overall, not that bad of a card. A good look back. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.